Hello, and welcome back to rLounge. If someone shows you their true colors, don't try to repaint them. Today on rLounge, we see some masks come off. Our first OP didn't forget to take the trash out before she left on vacation. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend that I don't think it's appropriate to come on the family vacation? Me, 21 female, boyfriend, 23 male. Let's call him Charlie. Around a month ago, my mom mentioned a family vacation while in a call with me. Charlie and I have been together for about 1 year. He has still not met my mom's side of the family, only my dad's. My mom, 42 female, lives in my home country together with my stepdad, 50 male, and my stepbrother, 24 male, lives there too, but not in our hometown. Because of this, he hasn't had the chance to meet them yet. Yesterday, I mentioned it to my best friend, 21 female, with who I have been friends with for 17 years now. I was on the phone with her. She is still in the city we grew up in and goes to university there. Because of that, she often sees my parents. My mom invited her like any other vacation, and this time she has decided to come. The trip is fully paid by my stepdad and my mom. My stepbrother will be bringing his fiancée, 21 female, too. Charlie was in the room while I was on the call and asked me what he should pack. I looked at him confused and asked if he is going somewhere. He said that he needs to know what to pack for the trip. I laughed and thought he was joking since I never said he was coming. When I realized he was serious, I sat him down and told him that he isn't going to be able to come and there was no reservation for him. Plus, it will be very inappropriate to invite him over, knowing that this is a family trip and it will make a bad impression like he is trying to come just because it's going to be free. They have never met him and there isn't any rooms left. He doesn't have a passport and other reasons that I tried explaining. He flipped out on me, telling me that I'm a witch and that I'm probably cheating on him, and that's why he is not invited. I tried explaining, but he left the apartment. He hasn't returned since yesterday, and at 4 a.m., I have to leave for the airport. I'm worried sick. I called many times and had texted, but he isn't responding. So, am I the a-hole? Ungu Pot chimes in first. Oh, I have been there. Boyfriend wouldn't take no for an answer. Showed up for a family holiday and spent the whole time getting mad at me for spending time with my family. When I finally convinced him to leave, he was really angry and said that it was him or my family. I wasn't choosing him. Best decision I ever made. Don't be worried sick about someone who can't take no for an answer. He's trying to manipulate you. You are not the a-hole. Break up with him and don't look back. You'll be fine. Next response from Dana Montana. Not the a-hole. I have been in his situation before and it's normal to feel a little disappointed, but that level of flip out goes right past red flag to major issue deserving of a breakup. Update. Hello everyone. I hope you're having a nice day. After my original post, I figured I could make an update. When I was leaving from the apartment 4 days ago, I left a key to my neighbor, friend. Yesterday, she called me to inform me that my boyfriend's stuff are missing and my writing studio and my manga collection are destroyed. Some of my savings are stolen, and yesterday, he has tried to empty my bank account, but failed miserably. $5,000 are apparently missing from the drawer of my nightstand, and boyfriend is nowhere to be found. Lucky for me, my stepbrother's fiance's mother is a lawyer. His side of the family, stepbrother, his fiance, mom, stepdad, grandmas and grandpas, etc., are trying to calm me down and get me away from the situation as much as possible. I thought this was a minor problem in the beginning, but here we are. Dad's side of the family is telling me to drop the charges and that I'm overreacting. Yes, I did place charges. I will have to deal with it further when I get back, but police are already on the hunt for him. Some police said I was the a-hole because this would be the perfect time to meet my family. But in this case, it just seemed like a direct, I want a free trip to me. Somebody pointed out we have communication problems. Yes, we do. I didn't really want to mention this, but I'm on the autism spectrum, so it's pretty normal in a way. He knew 2.5 weeks before I went to the trip, and I made it clear he won't be coming. Edit. Hello everyone. In the future, I will update, but on my profile. Our first reaction comes from Avado12. Do not drop the charges. He literally went crazy over not going on the trip. The man is effing nuts. The OP replies, he has destroyed my MacBook, iPad, and laptop, and I have sadly lost the book drafts I had there. Throwaway 78007800 says, not the a-hole. Do not drop the charges. Under any circumstances. Dad's side is jealous. Keep details away from him. Mom's side 100% correct and has your back. Repeat, do not drop the charges. MD Thomas chimes in, I'm sorry that he did all that. I'm curious though, how did he have access to your savings? Why was there $5,000 in a nightstand? The OP responds, I store some cash in there in case an emergency happens, and one time he asked me for my bank account information and I gave it to him. Update. Hello everyone, I'm updating here since I can't do more than one update. To the 5 people who told me I'm sick and not right in the head, message me again that I'm in the wrong when you have to fix over $25,000 in damages, and I dare you not to press charges. Today, I got back in my apartment, and the damages are much more serious than they were described to me. The moment I opened the door, I stepped on crushed up glass. The mirror next to the door was broken and crushed. My shoe pairs were ripped apart. The shoe rack was in the living room, and a cupboard door was out of the window. Yes, literally. The windows were shattered. The cupboards were broken. The sink was broken and running. I barely turned it off. The TV was broken, on the ground, and there were what looked like holes in the wall that were, I think, made by the coat hanger that was barely together next to the fallen on the ground TV. The bathroom sink was cracked, and the bathtub curtain was on the ground, and the metal bar it was attached to was detached on one side. My closet was trash, and the clothes in it, and shoes were ripped and torn. Charges are proceeding faster, now that I'm back. Togar Sucks responds first. I'm so sorry this happened. Has your ex been apprehended yet? The OP replies, yes. Before I got back to my apartment, I went to the police station, and he was there, and they told me to get the cameras in my apartment. Right now, I'm in a taxi with the cards from the cameras. Florida's 199 chimes in, OMG, please file charges, do not drop them. This is a scary situation. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Don't feel bad for anything moving forward. If he goes to jail, that's on him. I wish you well and hope you can recuperate from this trauma and are able to trust again. rLuna911 wanted to add, update please, what's going on with this? Was your ex charged? The OP replies, yes he was, and this is being taken to court. Oh my goodness, OP, this is awful. I'm so sorry. It sounds like the trip was a blessing in disguise. What he pulled before the trip was emotional abuse. You don't want people who are capable of losing their cool like this in your life. Those are some serious red flags. And honestly, it's a good thing he didn't meet your mother and your mother's side of the family. Press the charges and don't look back. He has to learn that there's consequences to his actions and how to act like a responsible, emotionally mature adult. Hopefully, he learns from this and doesn't do this kind of thing to someone else. Good on you for making all the right moves and listening to your gut. Please stay safe. Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think OP's ex deserved to be charged? Meanwhile, our next OP isn't sacrificing her peace for anyone. Am I the a-hole for being a petty feminist witch and refusing to take my husband's last name? English is not my first language, and I'm on mobile, so bear with me. Me, female 26, and my fiance, Jake, male 27, have been together for 5 years. We met in college while he was doing an exchange in my country, Belgium. He is from the US. He loved it here, so he decided to stay, and we are really happy here. I've met his family a few times when we went there to visit them. They've never been to Belgium. Important for later. Now here, women do not take their husband's last name. It is the law. All documents will still be in my maiden name after our wedding. I think it is possible to do all kinds of administrative stuff to change my name, but I don't want to. All women around me have their maiden name, and my fiance agrees that I should keep my name. On to the main issue. 3 days ago, we were doing a Zoom call with his family, and the topic of the name came up, and they were very surprised that I was not taking his name. I explained very calmly that it is the law here, and that I had the perfect example of my mom, who had a business in her maiden name and only used my father's name when dealing with our school or things like that, and that I wanted to take the same approach as her. Well, all hell broke loose. His mom started screaming at me, saying that it is not because I come from a country of peasants that I should punish my fiance, that he was so far away from them because of me, and so on. Jake defended me, and I tried to calm her down, but she turned to her husband while crying that they never came to my country because they know that it is not nearly as good as the US, and that I just proved it. And father-in-law said that I was a petty feminist witch, and that he didn't want to listen to such nonsense. They left the call, and my fiance comforted me because I was honestly very shocked by their reaction and their insults. I thought it was over, but they've been sending hateful messages over the past days. They even got the rest of their family to do it as well, and even my parents said that I should try to keep the peace and offer to check into the administrative procedures to change my name, but I really don't want to. My fiance is conflicted. He grew up in a town where it was very, very uncommon for a woman not to take her husband's name, and he agrees that it would keep the peace with his family, but he does not want to force me and says it is my decision. Am I the a-hole here? Update. I didn't expect for this to blow up at all. Thank you for everyone for your input. I stayed up until 3 a.m. last night to read your comments, and I am relieved to know that I was in the right. To the people not understanding why I was doubting myself, I was a very confrontational person when I was younger, but after bad stuff happening with close people, I learned to keep my mouth shut. Moreover, his parents never behaved like this with me, and when my parents and my fiance actually agreed a little with them, so no one was on my side, I started doubting my approach. I realize now that I've become too kind and that I let people walk over me, and that I need to call them on their BS more. As for my fiance, we had a long conversation about this morning. He was very defensive at the beginning, saying that his parents probably didn't mean it and blah blah blah. But after explaining my side of things and showing him the messages they sent, he actually realized that they were completely out of line. He admitted that they never behaved like that with him either, and that he was so surprised by their attitude that he didn't know how to react. I've showed him some of your comments and he understands now that he has to set clear boundaries now because it is the first of many fights if he does not. He promised me that he was going to send them a message today saying that this kind of behavior would not be accepted and that they needed to apologize to me if they wanted to come to the wedding. He apologized profusely, and I want to trust him. We also discussed the topic of name again, and he promised me that he was fully supporting my decision. Concerning children, we already had a conversation because we both want to be parents, and we agreed to give his last name. Again, thank you all for your comments. Speaking of those comments, anchovy mac and cheese starts us off. Not the a-hole. My fiancé is conflicted. He grew up in a town where it was very, very uncommon for a woman not to take her husband's name, and he agrees that it would keep the peace with his family, but he does not want to force me and says it's my decision. This is not enough. He needs to step up and shut down his family's behavior. Remember, this is the family you are marrying into. If your fiancé can't stop them from harassing you and saying cruel things to you now, what do you think the rest of your life is going to be like? The OP replies, yeah, you're right. He defended me when his mother started screaming at me, but now it is like it is not his issue. I definitely plan on talking to him about his lack of reaction and that he needs to do more and deal with his own family himself. High-Rise Car chimes in. They screamed at you, told you Belgium was a peasant country, and told you you were a petty feminist witch. Call it what it is, bullying and abuse. They got their whole family to send you aggressive messages. This is harassment. Your boyfriend needs to be properly on the same page with this and stand up to them. This isn't an area to be conflicted in. He accepted you as you are. Was he brought up in this environment? Is there any chance their patriarchal what I say goes nonsense may be in there deeply ingrained? These awful people will be lurking in the background of your life forever. You need to know he's 100% going to fight your corner if you want to marry him. Their reaction was extreme and vicious. Your folks saying that you should look into the admin and keep the peace isn't helpful. It isn't something you want to do, and his family were actually verbally abusive. This barrage of hate will happen whenever you do or say something that conflicts with their controlling backwards ideals. If you have children, then a whole new level of awful may open up. Update. Hi again, everyone. I received some messages asking for an update, so here we are. Firstly, I want to thank all of you for your advice and opinion. I spent hours reading your comments and it really helped me gain some perspective. Around a week after my first post, I asked to have a very big conversation with Jake, as you suggested, to discuss our future. Well, at some point, he broke down and told me he had lied about being surprised at their attitude. He said that what he was surprised about was that they did it in front of me. According to him, he knew they were not happy when we started dating for various reasons, including their fear that he would live far away, but also that I am considered a leftist in the US, that I'm not a Christian. Apparently, they made some mean comments to him the first 2 times I came to visit, and he didn't want to tell me about it because he wanted to protect me. His solution was to be less in contact with them. They stopped their remarks after that and started to pressure him to marry me and have kids, so he thought they changed their mind about me. While I knew they were the kind to say stuff like, "This is America, speak English," it is more serious than I thought because apparently they were really upset and criticized me because I sometimes had to search for a word in English and so would use my French English translator when I was over there. Jake said that he was quick to nip it in the butt as he knows that English is my third language, but the fact that this was an issue for them made me realize how deep their dislike of me is. Learning all that was definitely a shock and took a while to process, but ultimately I decided to forgive Jake as I know he did that to protect me and actually agrees with me that we need to cut them out, at least for a while. However, I asked to postpone the wedding as I needed time to be sure. The new date is in 2 months, and his parents and the members of the family who harassed me are not invited. I think that this time, we were able to discuss our future while being a lot more open to each other. I told him that I see no issue giving his last name to our kids, but that I would not negotiate on the languages. We both agreed to stay here. Belgium is a multicultural country, and I don't want to penalize them in life because they don't speak the language of the country. I obviously want them to speak English, but I told him I would not accept them not being able to speak French and Dutch. He agreed and even said he would start taking French lessons again. I think we are both a bit sad that it had to come to that. I think he really wanted to believe that his family could accept me, and even though he was not in contact with them that much, it was not easy for him to completely cut them off, but I'm supporting him as much as I can. Thank you again for all your messages and comments. Most of them were really helpful and helped us both and made us open our eyes to our issues. Thanks! Let's check in with the community for a couple of reactions. First up, V Shadow of Light V. Yeah, his parents are going to have to suck it up. I'm in a similar-ish situation, being engaged and for the most part, cutting off my parents. It's not easy, but sometimes it's necessary. We're deciding I'm taking my girl's last name for a variety of reasons, but my favorite personal reason is that it will piss off my parents. They're also uber Christian and will most likely be extremely upset when they find out. La Jeffa chimes in, I've always wondered why it wasn't the other way around with men taking the women's name. Can't always establish paternity, but can always establish maternity. A woman allows a man literally into her body in a relationship, and we have to make the name concession, the body sacrifice when we have children. Statistically, take on the gender roles, blah blah blah. That's a nope for me. I'll keep my name, thanks. This is 2022, dang it. Erythrone chimes in too. Your in-laws are xenophobic and probably racist, right-wing, Christian nuts. You got lucky that your partner seems to not share their character flaws. Good luck to you both. Wow, OP. I'm so sorry you were treated this way. 1. If you don't want to take his name, that's your decision. A name is a piece of someone's identity, and there's plenty of people in the world who don't change their names once married. It's a personal decision, and they have no right to push you one way or the other. 2nd, it's hard dealing with people who are so close-minded and intolerant. You do not need or deserve that in your life, and I'm so glad that your husband is supportive. I'm sure this is hard on him as well, as he had to learn who his family truly was in the worst of ways. Thank God he chose love and has decided to distance himself from bigotry. I wish you both a life full of love and light from this day on. Don't settle for anything less. What do you think of OP's in-laws? Thank you for joining us today. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have anything else you'd like to share regarding today's content, let us hear it in the comments below. See you next time on rLounge.